Hi guys, I wanted to make a quick video to talk about a topic that's really been sort of driving me crazy as I've gotten more experience in this community. I find that there's two types of people who actually engage in this community. There's those that fly and those that say they're going to fly. The second group, basically what they do instead of flying is they'll say, "Oh, I'll fly. I'll fly next event. I'll fly next week. I'll fly next month. I just need to brush up. I don't know I don't know how to fly well enough. I don't know how to use these weapons. I need some training. I'm gonna train on my own. I'm gonna go and read the manual and train on my own, and then I'm gonna come back and fly with you guys." That shit never fucking happens. I have never seen one of you come back after saying that and actually fly with a human flight. There's no way you're going to gain what you're trying to gain offline. You're not going to gain the situational awareness that you need and the skills and coordination to fly with humans offline. I just want to tell you guys a story about when I first started in the sim community because I think it's a good point of reference. I can use myself as an example, sort of make fun of myself, okay? So basically I was part of this gaming community, I still am, called United Operations. I had two friends there who they liked Falcon a lot. They had flown Falcon, they had flown Allied Force, so that's when I got involved, was in the Allied Force days. And, you know, they were telling me about Allied Force, how awesome it was. I was saying how I wanted to have a simulated war and how it's so awesome and all this stuff. And they were like, yeah, you can do that in Falcon. There's a simulated campaign. It's dynamic. It's crazy. You never know what's going to happen when you go up there. I was intrigued by that, right? So I had flown some flight sims before that. Nothing really serious, but I had flown some before that. So I said, yeah, I'll fly with you guys. They helped me set up my controls. And after that, they gave me a little lecture on what's important, right? I'm going to give you guys listening the same fucking lecture right now so you can actually start flying instead of talking about how you're going to fly, okay? They said, the most important thing is that you bring the airframe back. That's it, right? It's not important that you shoot down that MiG-29, drop bombs, be a hero, save the day, whatever. None of that stuff is important. The important thing is you bring the airframe back. If you don't know what's going on, if you get overwhelmed, just turn around. It's that simple. So as long as you can always turn around, as long as you know how to turn the aircraft using your joystick and come back the way you came, fly away from the threat, as long as you can turn and get away, then you're winning. You can fly. You can go online, you can fly with the best of us, okay? So anyway, I got airborne. They taught me how to read the RWR, right? So you basically have three rings. You have the outer ring, you have the central ring, and then you have the one in the middle, right in the center, right? If it's on the outer ring, then the contact is not a threat. If it's in the middle ring, then it is within RMAX parameters, and as it gets closer to the central ring in the center, you reach like a 90% probability of kill by the enemy. So what does that mean? It's very simple, guys. If you see an enemy contact on your RWR and it comes within that middle ring, you just turn away. If you don't know what you're doing, and if someone's asking you to shoot the thing with a missile, and you don't know how to do that because you're new to flying sims, you can't orient yourself, you don't know how to use the radar tilt, you don't know how to read off a bullseye, you don't know how to reference a bra, whatever that situation is, you go, okay, cool, I don't know what's going on, but I gotta keep the airframe alive, right? Turn around. It's that simple. And that's what I did for years. I mean, well, not for years, but at least for my first year, I was basically oblivious of what was going on. I would pretty much crash land every landing because I didn't know how to land. I didn't really know how to use the different systems for a couple months, so I was really ineffective. And I would say I got my rudimentary situational awareness about a year in, and it took until about now to the point where I actually feel comfortable saying I have situational awareness in the air. Because in order to be a good pilot, you need thousands of hours of exposure to real situations. What a good pilot needs to do is basically construct in his mind a mental picture of everything that's around his jet, everything that could be around his jet, every maximum range of every weapon that could be attacking him, as well as position himself mentally to where he is in relation to the ground and the other friendly aircraft. So this is an extremely complex mental picture that you need to constantly have at all times while you're flying. The new guys, they can learn the buttons and the switches and all that stuff, but they won't get their situational awareness for at least a year. So if you think you're going to gain that offline by dicking around in single player, you're not going to gain it. I'm just sorry, you're not. And you're going to keep saying that, oh, you know, eventually I'll come fly with you. No, you're not. Stop kidding yourself. What you need to do is you need to get in the air and fly with some humans. I will say this community is very inclusive, right? It's very inclusive and welcoming of newbies. You just have to be honest and say, I'm new, and then people will treat you accordingly, right? They're not going to poop all over you. They're going to treat you nice. They're just going to explain things to you as you go, and they're going to make sure that you're not in a critical area, which is fine, right? If I have a 8-ship flight, I have 4 people that are going to hit an airbase and 4 people that are escorting the strike. Where do you think I'm going to put you? I'm not going to put you on the airbase strike because I need everyone in that flight to get their bombs off, right? Otherwise, we have a bad problem. The enemy scrambles and kills us. Now, I can put you as a number 4 on the escort because if you don't contribute anything, then it's not a big deal. You're not a critical point in the mission, right? It's fine. And as long as you understand that you can turn away from an enemy and go to where you know it's safe, as long as you can just turn around, you know how to read that RWR, then you've contributed a great amount in the mission, right? You've succeeded. I'm glad that you flew with us as long as you didn't lose the airframe. Even if you lose the airframe, you're a new guy. It's fine. If you try to land, you don't know how to land, and your crater out and your landing gear snap or whatever, that's fine. You're a new guy. It's going to happen. You know, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. I've made thousands of mistakes. If I compare my original training tutorial videos to how I fly now, it's like night and day. I look like a complete amateur in the training tutorial videos that I made for the community compared to now. And even now, I feel like I have a tremendous amount to learn. I would, just to use another example to humble myself and prove to you guys that you should get airborne, is that I look at someone like Kid Vicious. I'm never going to be as good as him at dogfighting. I consider myself to be a 3 out of 10 compared to him, with him being the 10, right? I can hold my own. I know the basics of dogfighting. That guy, if I get into a dogfight with him, and I have at Battle for Sinai, I feel like a child being spanked. There's no hope for me fighting him in a dogfight. I've done it before, and I've seen him slaughter people where it was like a 4v1 situation. He's at another level, right? So you're never going to be the best at everything. You shouldn't try being the best at everything before you get airborne. You are going to suck. Just accept it. You're going to be terrible when you first start flying. That's fine. It's perfectly fine. I really think that you should try to get airborne and fly with people, right? And I'm not trying to make this an advertisement for my own squadron. I'm just saying there's lots of cool squadrons out there that are welcoming, and you can get airborne with very little overhead and have some fun rather than be on the sidelines and always be wondering if you're actually going to fly. There's very little expectation for you just because there's a lot of experts and it seems like you're being intimidated by them. And don't be intimidated by all the high skill people in the community. I'm not intimidated by KV. You know, he's really good at dogfighting. I want to learn stuff from that guy. I don't want to say, oh, I can never fly because, I got to practice dogfighting for the next, 2 years. That's not going to happen. Like, the only way I'm going to get better is by getting shot by him 20 times or 30 times. So I'm going to again say, I really recommend that if you are one of those guys who's on the sideline trying to train yourself through manuals and single player, please try getting involved at some level with this community. There's a massive community and there's a list of squadrons at, the BMS website. And lastly, I'll say I have never and never will fly a single player campaign, a single player mission in BMS. So there's no need to. It's not like a stepping stone to fly, right? You can start immediately in multiplayer, and that's probably the best way to do it because there's no real life consequences. Even though that real Air Force pilots need hundreds and hundreds of hours in order to get their flight wings, there's a the difference there between us is you can get airborne with less training, because if you blow up, you don't die. So, but there's still this pressure, I think, that there's an expectation that you're going to be like a trained fighter pilot with this master's degree of knowledge by the time you get airborne and fly. But it's simply not true. So please reconsider getting involved, and have a good one.